All right, so we're almost daf Chav Ches on the base, bottom of the page. This is our final leg of this Gemara, and I felt that, especially if the Rebbe spoke about Moed Katan, two different occasions, and then gave it out as a kuntas, second to last kuntas that Rebbe gave out as a maimon. We should sorry, Rebbe didn't hand it out as a distribution. It was given out. There was a one Shabbos, a Mugam Maimon came out. Kuntas Chav Be'eshvat. Chav Be'eshvat Rebbe gave out a pink kuntas to the shluchos, and I don't know, maybe some ladies in Karnataka as well. I don't know. And Rebbe gave out for Shabbos. There was I guess for Shabbos there was a maimon and a sikha that was combined, a Mugadik sikha that was combined of two sikhas, two different times. The Rebbe made a Hadran. The Rebbe was Messiah, Moed Katan, Brachas, Tamid, was Mesechtes. So we were holding the Chav Ches on base, and I felt like it's appropriate. We should, as Chassidim, we should finish that way, because I looked in the Misnagdish's father, and I'll mention them, and I see like what the ending is. And like the right of the ending, but that has a whole different look.
What kind of snacks do you have in your house?
It wasn't in my house. Moed wasn't in my house. I wanted this after.
No, it's even worse.
After I saw the Hadran, I was like, let me see what Art School writes at the end. And they don't write much. But anyways. So we're holding Daf Chav Ches on the base, on the bottom. Amar Bechman, Ein Menachem in Rashoyin Leimad Dava Ad Shiftach Ovel. I don't know if you said it last time or not, but
six lamps from the bottom.
Yeah, six lamps from the bottom. Ein Menachem in Rashoyin Leimad Dava Ad Shiftach Ovel. I think we had it. Well, let's just redo it. It's one line. The people that come to console the oval, the mourner, are not allowed to start speaking until the oval greets them and says something and starts talking to them. Shnema, we learn it from Iyov. Achechein pasach Iyov is Siyum. After these words, after something happened, Iyov opened up his mouth, and only afterwards it says V'hada. Afterwards it says V'yan Eliphaz Etamani, that his friends, one of them was that Eliphaz, came and spoke to Iyov. So here we see that Iyov, the mourner, has to start. Amar Avavo. How do we know that the oval, when it sits in the front for everyone? Maybe it should sit in the middle or somewhere else. But who says that he sits and everyone is facing him? Shenema, it says in the pasuk. It says also the pasuk about Iyov, and it says there that as Iyov was the book of Iyov is, I didn't learn it, but I just flipped through it and I saw, maybe you can, give us some what's it called. The book of Iyov is like, no, serious. The book of Iyov is a interesting book. Don't even know if it was a real person or not, and when he lived, but the book is built on the Samach Mem testing him out. And basically, just taking away everything that he has. That Abisha told him that don't touch Iyov, because Iyov is a special person. He does everything correctly, and he's a righteous person. And basically, saying a test. Look, if you take things away from him, let's see how good he's going to be. And he kept it up. And eventually, he kept saying certain mashalim, certain parables about the things that are going on. And again, I didn't read the Iyov. It looks like an interesting sefer that we should in Tanakh that could be studied well. And one of the things it says when he spoke about these parables, he said, Efchar Dalkom. Iyov was saying that before he lost everything, he would be the one that would choose the paths of people. People would come to him, ask him for advice, what paths they should take. So Efchar Dalkom, I would be the one that would choose the paths of the people. Ve'eshav, and I would sit at the head. Ve'eshkan, and I would dwell Kemelech Bagdud, like a king when he goes out with his company of soldiers and he goes in the front. Kashel Aveli Menachem, when he consoles mourners. And the pasuk basically says that when he consoles mourners, not when he's being consoled. And the Gemara is asking right away. Yenachem Achrinim Ashma. It sounds like he's someone else. He's being consoling someone else. So how does this mean that when someone is being consoled, he has to sit in the front? It says Yenucham that when a consoler becomes consoled, and he sits at the head. So this is where we see that a mourner sits in front and everyone faces him. And Mazutra had an issue with learning from this pasuk and said a better pasuk, a different pasuk, Mahacham. And he said a pasuk, and this pasuk is in Amos. Amos was one of the also had nevuah about Mashiach. I believe what does it say there? V'so, and so means I'll move away. The pasuk calls it the Chen Atom. Therefore now, the Amos was bringing nevuah about the Churban. Now so the Amos was bringing the nevuah about the Churban, that the Churban is going to happen, and he was telling them that they sinned. The pasuk says Lachen Atom Yigul B'loish. That's where now when you go into Golus, you will go into Golus ahead of everyone. V'sad Nirzach Seluchim. And the pasuk means at that time there were pubs or bars where people would sit. Mirzach is a bar. Bet Marzeach in Hebrew, I think it's called a bar. And the pasuk was saying that at that time when we're going to go into Galus, the people that are running around in the bars and they're just having a good time at the bars, they're going to be taken away from the bars. They're not going to have a good time when they go into Galus. But he is trying to touch the pasuk that Mazach, they said that Mazach is two words. Mad is bitter, and Zach is someone that is down. That because why is someone down and why is someone bitter? Because he lost someone. So the Sod, Mazach Seluchim, Mazach, someone that is down and bitter because he lost a family member and he's sitting Shiva. And I said, Seluchim, he becomes a minister, the Seluchim, for all the people that come to console him. And basically a different play on the pasuk.
Mizrach is the...
Not Mizrach, Mirzach.
How does that show that?
Because it's two words.
Sits in the front?
So it's because it becomes a sad, it becomes like a head, a minister, a leader. So the Marzach is means a mourner because Marzach is two words. Someone that's mad is bitter, and Zach that he's down. Three lines in the bottom. How do we know the chassan sits at the head of the table? Like it says in the pasuk in Ishaya. This Ishaya speaks about the Gula, and it says this is actually one of the the beginning of one of the Haftarahs after Tisha B'av. The pasuk says, "Sois Osis B'Hashem." I'll be jolly. I'm happy with the Eibush, what the Eibush did to us. Tagad nafshi b'lakai kil b'shani big deyesha, because the Eibush enclosed us with a begonim of Yeshua. Me'il tzedakah tani kechasan ichai per. He dressed up in beautiful clothing like a chasan, and the pasuk uses the word yechahin per. So he compares a chasan like to a kohen. Ma kohen b'loish. We know that a kohen always takes everything first. He's one that leads. Therefore, also a chasan, when he gets anything, when he is anywhere, he sits at the head. He's treated like a king. Now, how do we know the kohen taka gets everything? First, the kohen guf minol, the ton of very small. The kidashtoi. One times it says the kidashtoi and pasuk. You have to separate and make the kohen holy. The chol davar shebekdusha, any holy thing, the kohen goes first. Liftoach rishon, he starts first. Olavarach rishon, and to bench, we give him the honor to bench. Velitlo man yafesh, and to take a nice portion. So Rashi here says in the Ksav Yoshan, Rashi explains man yafesh and take a nice portion. It says in the Gemara, it says that one of the things a person does not see a Siyum B'lacha, if he grabs something by himself, he wants to get the best portion, he grabs it. So the Gemara says such a person doesn't see a Siyum B'lacha in the thing that he grabbed, in the item that he grabbed. So Rashi therefore in Ksav Yoshan here explains that this is not talking about something that the kohen grabs, like a matnas kahuna. The kohen has certain things that he gets as a kohen, 24 things that the kohen, the Eibishter gave the kohen as a matana. But Rashi explains this is when a kohen and all have a partnership, and they decide to splitting something. The kohen gets to choose the first equal part, but the kohen gets to choose the better part. He gets to choose first. That's what Rashi Shav Yoshan. Teresh doesn't agree with that. He says it is talking about the matnas kahuna, and because the Eibishter gave it to the kohen, he could take it already. Zak Toises, the last Toises in this Gemara, to take a nice portion. Pirush Yeshlisor Litan Loi. So Toises first says that Yid is supposed to give it to him. But the kohen shouldn't grab it. There it says a bunch of things. The Gemara brings a bunch of things that a person will not see a Siyum B'lacha. And one of the things is someone that grabs a portion. Hanoi saying enough. The Chelik Yafet doesn't see a Siyum B'lacha. So that's the first part of the Taisus. Mio nearly the coin, kivin shezadina, but the truth is the coin because the din is he has a locha that he can take it. This is his. He could still see a sim of locha. He could still see blessings from this piece that he grabs. And the pasuk says over there that the yid has to give it to him, that he shouldn't take it himself. So it puts a little twist in it. The coin doesn't grab it, but it tells the guy you have to give him a matana anyways. Give me this part. This part is nice. This is what I appreciate. What I like. Okay, that's the end of the Tosfos. Go back to Gemara, the bottom line. The Gemara before we mentioned there were Tzaddikim that passed away, and their friends asked them, "Could you please let me know what happens after he passed away?" Because they feared the Malchamavas, and then they told them that it was like pricking a finger, and someone said it was like pulling milk hair out of milk. That is by Tzaddikim. By the regular person that passes away, how much are the pains of passing away? The going out of the neshama of the guf is like they compare it to a boat that has sails, and the sails are tied on with the ropes and knots, and it has on one of the masts it has a certain hole where you put a rope through, and if the rope is knotted there, it doesn't go through, so they have to pull it out with force, and that's the pain that a person has when the neshama goes out of the body, because I guess it's so tied up in the body, and pulling it out, the pain is like pulling out a knotted rope, and that it goes out from the mast of the sailboat.
Because one side's pulling the body's trying to keep it down, and the other neshama's trying to go back up.
It doesn't hurt, it's just annoying.
By when do you need to know?
Never. Let's go straight to Mashiach.
Yes.
Absolutely. Abechna says it's like when you tie two ships together. There's also something with a knot and pulling them together. It's another thing in the boat. For some reason they compare everything to a boat. Levi Bachisa said an interesting halacha. Haniftam and a mess when someone says goodbye to a dead person, to someone passed away, and they're saying condolence, eulogy, and they're saying goodbye to the person. You have to be careful what you say. Don't tell him go to peace. Go in peace. And if the menachai, when someone says goodbye to a living person, don't tell him go in peace. Go to peace. Why? Because going in peace means that the guy has peace already. He did what he did, or some Meforshim say that he did complete all the mitzvahs. He has everything, and he's done. So now that you did everything, go in peace. You're done. Go to peace means that you are still looking, you're still searching, you're still hopefully reaching a place, a destination where you're going to find a place where you're going to go to peace. But not tell him, okay, that's like, go in peace could also mean like, go in peace, sei gesund. Go to peace means go wherever you're heading to. You don't know what your destination is. You still have a destination, you still have a place to go. So go to peace, go find peace. So the same thing also, so we mentioned here to that person you say go in peace, to the living you say go to peace. Elam, and someone says goodbye to that person, what does it say in the pasuk? The Rebbe told Avram Avinu that he's going to pass away, and he told him that when you die, after your death, you'll go to your forefathers in peace. So that here we know that when talking about death and dying, telling the body, we tell him to go in peace. And if someone that says goodbye, a living person, go to peace. David uttered best shalom to his son, a living son, and bad things happened. He told David when Avshalom first started to rebel, the first thing he did was he told to David he wants to go to Hadran, and because he felt like Hadran was where David started his kingdom, so he wanted to go to Hadran to do something. So David told him, Lech b'sholem, go in peace. What eventually happened that he rebelled, And eventually, Shalom got hung by his own hair. Holach v'nitla. Then after he left, he hung himself. He was hung by his hair. Yisrael she'amar leMoshe lech Shalom. When Moshe told Yisrael, I want to go back to the Yidden in Egypt, Yisrael told him, Lech leshalom, go 2 piece. Holach.
No, when Yisrael left the Yidden.
No. Yisrael told Moshe, when Abishal came to Moshe in the sneh, in the burning bush, and told him that the Yidden are suffering, he came to his shver because he made a shvur, told the shver he's not going to leave him. He came to shver, I have to go back. So Yisrael told him, Lech leshalom. The pasuk says, Velech Moshe v'yoshem v'esech choisnoin. The pasuk says that Moshe went to his shver. I want to see if my brothers are still alive. And Yisrael told him, Lech leshalom. So here we see to a living person, they say, go 2 peace. And when you get to Egypt, hopefully you'll find peace. Someone walks out from davening. Beis HaKnesset is a place you only daven, you don't learn. And straight from davening, you go to Beis HaMedrash, you start learning. And when you're done learning, Beis HaMedrash and Beis HaKnesset, you go back to Shul to daven. He has these chus, and he greets the Shechina. When you go from one chayav, one strength, el choil, to another strength, and again back to the first one, then you will see the Eibishter B'Tzion. Amar Abchir B'Asha Marav, Talmidei Chacham from the same pasuk. We see also that Talmidei Chachamim are constantly going from strength to strength to levels. Talmidei Chacham Eina Menucha Afilu Elam Haba. Even Elam Haba, we know that usually the Ma'ameh Chazal is Eina Menucha Leil B'Mezevel Elam Haba. Here the Moed Katan says Afilu Elam Haba Shneim Yilchem L'Chayil Choil. And the end of the Masechta Yoel L'Kim make the Hadran next week. As we said, but we could say l'chaim, yeah, sure. That we could.
Why are we making the Hadran next week?
Just combined with my birthday.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And someone invited next week, Sunday night, at my house. So,
Huh? Sunday night is what?
Yeah.
No, I said bottles up already. Next week.
It's finished.
So, as I said in the beginning, felt that it's appropriate that the Rebbe has a Siyum. I'm not going to do the whole thing. I don't think we're going to be able to finish it. Maybe we'll finish next week. But the Rebbe occasionally, often made Siyum and spoke about Chaviling. And this Siyum was done in L'chaim. The Siyum was done in 2 parts.
Perfect.
Remember where that is, huh?
This is a sikha in 2 parts. One of them was said in connection to the Yatzet of the Rizal, and one of them was said in connection to the Yatzet of the Rebbe Tzachana. This is some Melukat Vav, and page Kuf Yud Gimel in the living Melukat Vav, in the dying Melukat Vav. The cost took it out because they changed everything, took it out. But the Shchistan went and printed the Hadran on Al-Shas. They printed it out, they put it inside here as well. So in here is a Hadran. Huh?
Where did you get it?
When they redid their thing, they I don't know what they did. When they redid their the Maimon, and they took it out. So this one is. We'll find out. Like in middle of this, smuggled in a sikha, in middle of a Maimon. Did I take the wrong? God bless me, I took the wrong one. Oh no, I didn't. Moed, no. No, this is still for my boys. Like ask the boys if we can use. Kindness.
Fresh. It's right after perm. It's still fresh.
The $6 bag is the same as the 45-cent bag.
I'll try some.
All right, so let's go. Let's work on a quick pace because this is it's very interesting, and it's the way that Rebbe looks at different things that people don't even pay attention to. So Kuf Yud Gimel. So the first ice is like this. First ice that brings a comparison to 2 Masechtas to finish off the same way. Moed Katan and B'dachas. Talmud also gets mentioned in the middle because Talmud also has certain similarities. And Rebbe is going to pick it apart and say why in B'dachas did the Gemara say it this way, and why in Moed Katan the Gemara said it that way.
We don't talk it, no?
We don't
No,
know.
no.
Siyum Moed Katan Huva Maivel. At the end of Maseches Brachos, Moed Katan, he brings on the Ma'amim Menucha and the Menucha that the Menuchim do not have peace, do not have rest, they're not resting. They go from stage to stage. But with a difference in the lashon itself. In Malachas it brings down that the Talmidei Chacham don't have any peace, not in this world and not in the world to come. So it takes out the Olam Hazeh, and it says you should know that not only Olam Hazeh, which is obviously understood that they're not having peace because they have to toil and learn and at the same time they support themselves, but even Olam Haba they don't have peace. We just mentioned of 3-4 sayings of the Chazal, and the same sayings appear in Blachas and a little bit different. The ones right before this ma'amah of this saying of Yilach Mechayel Cholim, it says when one goes out of Beis Knesset, he sees the Shechina, because it says that you will see the Eibishter. So in Masechtas, never Masechtas Brachos. What does it say in Masechtas Brachos? It says more details. He goes out, he goes in, and he learns Torah. But it says that he goes from one to one. It doesn't say going out, going in. It doesn't say Oisek B'Torah. And then in Moed Katan he adds something, the opposite. In Beis Knesset he goes back to Shul. The saying right before that, what does it say? We're first speaking about a living person. When you say goodbye to a living person, we told him go to peace, not go in peace. Like we said already. Hanifta, first we're talking about a living person, a dead person. It does the opposite. First he mentions the dead and then he mentions the living. Okay. Another thing that there's a difference between Brachas and Moed Katan. Maseches Brachas says these three things: Talmid Chachamim and Yoitze from a shul to shul, and someone says goodbye to a friend and to a dead person, to a mace. And in Brachas he adds Talmid Chachamim to bring peace to the world, because it says in Pasuk Hashem is Lameit and Hashem V'Achzam B'Shalom. Moed Katan it doesn't even bring that. So if everything works in the same way, why Moed Katan did not bring? Or why Blachas did it bring? Another thing we have to understand: the concept that Talmidei Chacham do not have peace in Olam Haba, that doesn't make sense. The Mashah asks this in Blachas. We have to understand we know that the reward a person gets for sitting and doing the right things his whole life is that he reaches a world that kula menucha, it's only peace and resting. You reach a level of Shabbos, the whole day Shabbos and menucha. So, what does it mean that Talmidei Chacham do not have menucha? For sure they have menucha. If they're tzaddikim, if they learn, then they should have peace. They should, when they reach the final destination, they should have peace. Not only that, when someone passes away, the Gemara always uses the lashon noch nafshei. Noch nafshei means he rested. We say today someone rested in peace. Rest that someone's resting. So what's pshat coming in the world to come? There's no peace. The concept itself we have to understand. Because of Mashal writes an answer. It says when the Eibishter finished the work, so 6 days he worked. He finished on the 7th day. What was the world missing? Just menucha. But Shabbos called so Melacha. When Shabbos came, his entire work was finished. Why? Because menucha rest came to the world. The menucha sham shem hikilui vesiluk melacha pal. Menucha means that there is the completion, the ending of physical work. And here we're talking about Talmid Chacham. What makes up a Talmid Chacham? Someone that constantly thinks, his mind is constantly working. There's no rest to that. Even this world, and even in the world to come, there's no stopping for Talmid Chacham to learn, and therefore, while there is resting, he's resting from his physical things, but over there, because he has no physical limitations, now this part he does not have. So when it says that Talmid Chacham have menucha, menucha, when it says he has resting, that's talking about gashmis things. When it's talking about the ruchnis, the seichel, here he has no menucha. The Mashah adds that this itself, that the Talmid Chacham continues to learn, continues to go high level after level in learning, this itself is considered a menucha for a Talmud Chacham. The fact that they're sitting and toiling in Torah and understanding it with their seichel. The Rebbe asks a question on Mashal, because the Rebbe asks, very simple, this that we don't have any physical work to do, and therefore we can sit and learn, this is not something that's unique for Elam Haba. That's something that every person can reach. Technically, every person can reach. If we do whatever we want, the Rebbe promised us He's going to take away all our worldly matters. The fact that you have rest and you don't have to, and you can spend all your time and your energy in learning, that's not a chiddush of the Olam Haba. We can have this thing sitting and learning without worrying about worldly matters before. So the Torah told us that if we do everything according to what the Eibishter wants, the Eibishter will take away all the limitations, everything that holds us back from doing things, and we'll be able to learn Torah. We shouldn't be involved all our life with the things that the body needs. We will be able to sit and learn Torah. It says also in Chazal that if the Yidden do everything that the Eibishter wants them to, then their work, the physical work, toil, labor, is done by someone else. Then the Shleimus is going to be Mr. Mashiach, that even they'll be peaceful and they will be able to get more chachma, reach more chachma. But that's something that's not unique for either Mashiach or Elam Haba, because it's something that technically we can reach in this world. If you devote yourself to Torah mitzvahs the way it's supposed to be, the Eibishter will take away all the worldly matters. So the Rebbe adds, and here starts the build. The chiddush about menucha is that when we're relating it to limud Torah, chiddush legab ma'an matzah tamid cham ela menucha, is a chiddush in the limud Torah itself, that this type of limud Torah is the menucha. When we're talking about comparing it to tamid cham that just learned and they're toiling constantly and they don't have menucha, so there is a part in limud Torah itself that is menucha itself. The Arizal in his Likut Hashas writes it out. So Bezel Shine. That in the world after the Misa, meaning Mashiach comes when there's the resurrection, then the Talmid Chacham are going to be sitting and learning, and they're going to go. Sorry, this is the Olam Haba, not resurrection. Achamisa means after passing away, going into the world to come. So Talmid Chacham are sitting, they go up, they go up in levels. One yeshiva to another yeshiva, one level to another. Just like the Eibishter is infinite, Torah also is infinite, and therefore you can always reach higher and in greater heights. After there's going to be resurrection, then the Talmid Chacham will have complete peace and they'll be resting. Why? Because of Mala, it's there, because it's going to be, the world is going to be full of wisdom. After they have a time period in this world that there's no menucha, then there's going to be a time period in the next world. There's no menucha, there's no peace, no resting. Then there's going to be there's going to be even a higher, greater realm. That's when you will have actual menucha. So the basically the Rebbe explains that there's going to be three levels. Olam Hazeh, you don't have peace. Olam Haba, you don't have peace. You're not resting. When it's going to come to Olam HaTchiyah, which is Mashiach, or the Elav HaShvi, the seventh, cycle of 1,000 years, that's when we'll have Menucha totally. But now, you just said that the Torah is infinite. The Eibush is infinite. The Torah is infinite. So you're basically saying that in that time period, if everyone is resting, they're not going higher levels, so there is, Torah is finite. At that level, you reached everything, so the Torah, you're done. You're not going anywhere else. If the Torah is infinite, like we said, mentioned before, that Rizal said that the Eibishter is infinite, and the Torah is also infinite. If if you go higher in level. And if you reach the level of Tchias HaMesim, where that level is going to be the highest level, technically there you should even have higher levels of Torah that you should be able to reach. How do you say that at that point you reach Menucha? How could it be that in Limud Torah is Menucha? There is resting. So here comes the Rebbe the Chiddush. Gam le'osid achat chiyam sheyilam Menucha. We have to combine it. The people we are going to go higher in levels, level after level. But that going higher in level in itself is in a peaceful way. Is going to be a certain addition and going raising up in limud Torah. That going from level to level is going to be in an oifen of menucha, of resting, and not an oifen of going back and forth. Like the Moshe says, that itself, that they're sitting and learning, is considered menucha. So that basically answers the question of Moshe. The question of Izal, that there is three levels. Olam haba, Olam hazeh is no menucha. Olam haba there is menucha. There's no menucha. And the Olam hatchiyah is going to be no menucha. However, even in the no menucha, that itself is going to be an aliyah. You're going to experience aliyahs in Torah going up higher in levels of Torah, but it's going to be in a way of resting. B'yesh loima. Says the Rebbe Chiddush. Shebeis ha'amam the Talmidei Chacham in menucha. The two Maimah Chazal that I mentioned, that the Talmidei Chacham they're not of menucha. Be'olam haba, Maseches Brachos, Maseches Moed Katan, and loy kefil shleisin. It's not repeating the same thing. There's two levels. If it will be repeating itself, why does it say in one place? One is be'olam haba, one is saying kafilo. Because it's talking two dagas. That's okay. We can write it differently. First Masechta that you learn through in Shas, you hit Masechet Brachos at the end of Masechet Brachos. So the first time we are mentioning this thing that the Menuchim do not have peace. Talking about the first level, the lower level. Talking about Elam Haba, Gan Eden, that you get as a reward living on this world. Next step is Elam Haba. Shlifnei Meshagol Shabbos Menucha. This is the one before resurrection. Masechet Moed Katan. This Maimah is brought down. This saying of Chazal is brought down the second time. We're talking about the second higher level. Like we said before, in Moed Katan is speaking about the highest level. What we just mentioned in the Gemara, we just learned. It's the highest level. Going into El Matchil is the highest level. In Blachas, it's talking about the low. In order to explain the differences between the two places, one is Lefnei Yom Shekol Shabbos Menucha, Yom Shekol Shabbos Menucha. One is before, one is the day that we have a resurrection. We have to understand what is Pshat Menucha. What does Menucha mean? Yom Shekol Shabbos Menucha v'Heda Menucha. There is resting and not resting. What does it mean in learning Torah? What is the in Brachos and the Talmud it finishes that they have peace. In Moed Katan it says that's how the Gemara finishes. The Gemara in Brachos we mentioned before says and it's done. They're resting here. There's two ways of learning Torah. One is learning, like we mentioned, learning with a resting, peaceful state, and one of them is without resting, peaceful state. So what are these two things, and what does it mean the difference between Moed Katan and Brachos? The Torah is in general divided between Torah Shebachsav, the Torah, Nevi'im, Ksuvim, and Torah Sheba'al Peh, everything after that, Pilusha, everything that's explaining the Torah Shebachsav. Torah Shebachsav, Nit Nabayv Shach Shina V'Goy V'Sofa B'Tevas V'Yisasya. Torah Shebachsav was given in a way you cannot add any words, any letters, anything. This is what it is. Lo Chosav V'Liyata, you cannot take off a letter, a word. Torah Sheba'al Peh, Pilusha, Nit Nizgalsa V'Nizbal Dechom Shadoshim Kotev V'Chol Osha B'Torah Al Pigi Yudgim Mitzvot Torah Sheba'al Peh is the explaining the Torah. Over there you can add, and you can add to such a level that you can have Chedushim. Every day, every moment, you can have more chedushim. We adding chedushim to Torah. Talmud vasik as lachadish. A Talmud could be mechadish more things in Torah on a daily basis. La fashalo, you go deeper. Chedushim yusal Torah. You have the Torah, and then you have Torah Sheba'al Peh, which means that you can add more and more. So these are two ways, two general ways of the Torah coming down here. One that is straight, simple, not simple, it's straight, and this is what it is. And the other one, we're going to explain all that, and there's always more, and you can add and add and add. It's just like there's two types of Torah. In each part, there's two ways of learning Torah. The Alter writes that you have to learn Torah. The Torah Shabbat was given to us, and we have to learn the Torah Shabbat as well. Is to repeat the learning again and again. That you should remember what you learned. This is not talking about going into depth of learning, but repeating the stuff that you learn again and again. Till it engraves into your mind the whole Torah. You have straight, you have a Gemara, you're learning a Gemara, you're going to repeat the Gemara again and again and again until it engraves into your mind. That's one way of learning, but you're not going deep. You're going to start, asking questions and figuring things out, going deep. What we call technically Gilsa and Iyun. In Yeshiva have the Shiur that is Iyun, that you'll cover 2 lines a day or 2 lines a week, and every word is taken apart. On the Gilsa, it's just covering grounds, but also at the same time, the Alter Rebbe writes that you have to do it in a way that you know what you're doing, what you're learning, that you're repeating itself. In the original Sikha, at the time, the Alter Rebbe adds over here that the Alter Rebbe writes,
The Rebbe added it, Alter Rebbe writes.
in the Sikha, which was taken out of the Muga, the Rebbe says a few more words. The Rebbe says that Bechlal, there is an Indian that everyone should learn Gemaras, Masechtas, complete, as many Masechtas. Not only as many Masechtas, learn the whole Shas. So this is, I guess, we're working towards that goal. The base, okay, so the first one is a simple learning, understanding, and repeating and engraving in your mind. The second one is Lizbah Svaz Behilchas Falful Bahan Bekushis Sepukim, to start looking to reasoning behind the thing and start arguing, asking questions, taking the questions, taking it apart. To go into the depth of the reasoning behind of all the things that you're doing. And now it's at a level, because you went in such depth, that you can be mechadash different halachas. So you have one simple learning, just retaining the knowledge, and one just adding more and deeper until you come up with new knowledge. Like the Alter writes, there's no end to the depth that you can go when you learn Torah. Because you can go as deep as it only allows you. And therefore, you can also add halachas when you learn. There's two. The Chazal mentions many times different things. There's 2 ways of learning. One time the Gemara says it's called ligma of Lisbeth, to learn. Ligma is to just learn and get knowledge. Lisbeth is to go deep. Svaras, to understand the reasoning. Then we have sometimes the Chacham are called Sinai. Sinai is a mountain, and the opposite Oikal takes apart the mountain. Why? Because one is Sinai, that it's there. And this is Torah Shabbat type of learning. It's there, it stays there, we're not moving it away. Now, that means I'm taking everything that was rooted in the ground, I'm picking it apart, I'm uprooting the mountain. The same thing also, someone is more calm, and he goes to a maskana right away, he understands the end. Cholav Maksha means he's sharp, and he asks questions. From one side, we can have someone that is a pit, that is well sealed off, so it doesn't lose any liquid, anything. Yeah? But from the other one is Kamaina Mazgaba, something a bubbling a water thing that goes over and it's adding more. So there's 2 different ways of learning. One is more the calm way and just retaining the knowledge, and one is more going deep. Now it comes and says, we mentioned that there is a peaceful learning and a not peaceful learning. This is really the difference over here. Learning Torah the way it was given. Straight, not adding, not taking off, just going straight. Learning it just to retain knowledge. That is a difference from Menucha. Because he's not toiling to understand the reasonings and asking questions. Even though when you learn in that peaceful and you try to learn a Blat Gemara, you're not learning in depth, you're just trying to understand a Blat Gemara by itself. Yes, there is a type of toil. You have to understand, what is it saying? How does it answer the question? And especially trying to finish the entire Torah Shabbat Pei is definitely toiling. You have to put yourself to it. and learning in the way and if you want to learn in such a way that it becomes engraved in you, it's definitely a type of toil there. You have to. This is not doesn't come automatically turning on a tape. But the subject matter that you learn, the idea that you're not going up, you understand it, you're moving forward, that is considered a learning of life in a way of peace, of resting. Now when you finished, you understood it. I understood it, I can move on. Then he goes into the next piece. But learning in depth and arguing back and forth is a limit of Hadran. There's never peace. You can learn the same Gemara again and again and again, the same lines of the Gemara again and again, and it's always going to be back and forth, asking the question, why did they say this, why did they say that? Because every little thing that he touches, he starts asking questions and he starts taking it apart. He had a good svada to explain what he said, and now he goes and he destroys the entire thing. And comes with a new thing. Then he goes, the new thing that he just came up with, he is going to destroy that because there is a question. Says he goes up and down. But he never reaches a level of peaceful because he can constantly continue coming up with new things, and it just goes and goes and goes. Now, this is something that was unique to the Rebbe. The Rebbe always would find that now that we know that this is the difference between learning, there's a peaceful learning and there's not a peaceful learning. Now we're going to see what Moed Katan means. That is going to take apart the word Moed Katan and what does Tamid and Bedachas mean. This type of learning, and what we mentioned in the Gemara, it shows on the Masechta, the name of the Masechta itself. Tamid, what do you mean something is always the same? Like Teresh Riksav, it's not changing, it's the same. Matzav Tamidi Leshinu, it's constant without any changes. Say that Tamid Lavedis Belakinu. Smoya Limud Ateba Efen Sheiko Limud Aklida Zakon in Yon Atek Vishdimitzav Nesgalu. Tamid is teaching us. It's a concept of learning. We're just retaining knowledge. Loishinu Vesaf, we're not adding, not being mechadish. Shalimud Zeh Ba'Efen Shlemanucha. Kemud Gosh Basim Lagam Shlosh Avanucha. That type of learning is a Efen Shlemanucha. And like it says in the end of Tamid, and then the Brachas, the Rebbe says in parentheses, over there it finishes the word, the Leib Shekulum and Shabbos Menucha. We're talking about the brachas that a person on a constant basis has to say on a daily basis. It's the same brachas again. It's the same thing again. Starting from the brachas of Shema and davening. These are things that you need on a daily basis. It's also something that is constant. The same thing again and again. Also finishes with peace. Why? Because it's a peaceful thing. They'll do the same thing. The brachas go again and again. Moed Katan changes everything. Moed means time. Moed Katan Zman. Moed means time. Time. What makes up time? The fact that every moment it changes. Let's ask Kamala Harris. She doesn't know what a moment is, but Shegidoi Tenua Veshinoi Aval Hoyav Vasit. The idea of time is that as things change, there's a past, there's a present, there's a future. Now we're talking about a time Moed Katan. It's Chol HaMoed. Sheshoyim is Malach. It's different than anything else. Choy l'shemoyed, like Baschalas Masech. The Va'ad, that's a happy occasion. Chol HaMoed is a happy occasion. Va'ad l'shin l'geis, the Gemara finishes off, starts with Chol HaMoed. Happy occasions, what you could do, what you can't do, but it's Chol HaMoed. Talking about Yontif. The Gemara ends with Avelus. It's another time in a person's life. It's like I said, the shin l'geis, it goes to a worse time period. The Avelus b'sav Masechtas. The end, the last part of the Mishnah is Bila Mavas Lanetzach. The Eibusha will take it away. Basically, the halachas of Avelus go until the Eibusha will take it away. That's the last thing the Mishnah says. In the Mishnah, it says the end is Bila Mavas Lanetzach. So that changing in time, that shows time. Time means changes. This Moed Katan shows there's always a change going back and forth. So it's the deeper type of learning. The learning that mechadish is constantly going back. This is a learning that's not peaceful. the last thing that the Gemara says, Ein la menucha, that they don't have a menucha at all. In B'dachas it finishes with Ma'ad B'Shalom Boyim, and in Moed Katan it finishes Ein la menucha. Why? Because Moed Katan itself shows something that changes and it's never peaceful. How you learn Torah down here is how you get the reward later. The limit the type of learning you learn about. I'm going to go through the ending of the two Masechtas. The Siyum and Talmud, it speaks about that a person, a Talmud Chacham, will reach a stage, Shabbos, it's Shabbos and Menucha. Why? Because this is the type of reward you get for learning Torah in a way with a calm way. Menucha. They are in such a state, in a higher state, but they're in such a state in the Elam Haba where they constantly keep moving. Why? Because their learning was also on a deeper level. Because they kept learning deeper level, the reward they got for it, that Elam Haba, which technically should be restful, for them the reward will be that they will keep on moving at higher levels. It's going to be a limud, it's going to be learning, and it's going to be not menucha, not peaceful. We'll do one more. I guess we'll finish next. I don't know. I hope I'm not going too fast. I don't know. Just
Perfect.
I watched this on 1.5.
Huh?
I feel bad for the guy that's going to watch this on 1.5.
Accordingly, we said that the level of not having peace is higher than the level of having peace. Peaceful learning, you do the same thing again and again. You learn the stuff, you're not mechadish anything, so it's on a much lower level. Learning in a way that you're constantly going to be adding, finding new things, is a higher level. It's much higher than being learning peaceful. Learning in the way of not peace is to go deep. The opposite of what we do understand that it is peaceful. There is a level of learning Torah that is not peaceful, and there's a level of learning Torah that is going to be peaceful. That's a much higher level. That's later on. That's why we have to say after reaching that level of Elam Haba, that you get rewarded of a Ein La Menucha. Sorry, you get the word of Ein Menucha and Ein Menucha. Then you reach a level of Yom Shekol Shabbos Menucha. I'm going to stop here, but basically, it's saying it's really 4 stages. Elam Hazeh, no peace. In Elam Haba, you have 2 ways of learning. If you learn deep, there's no menucha for you. You're going higher and higher. If you didn't learn deep, you go regular learning, the same thing repeating, you stay in the same level in Elam Haba also. But even the ones that don't have peace in Elam Haba, when they get to Elam Hatchiyah, over there they'll have a peaceful learning. Hadran Allah.